What's going on, everyone? Sorry about that. It's Coach Ed. I'm back with another Doing It for the R. This is the third episode, and I really appreciate everyone tuning in today uh, to join me as we talk about Rutgers Athletics, everything that's going on for Rutgers. This is why we're doing it for the R. Hit the wrong banner. Sorry. But yeah, this is where I sit back and I talk about Rutgers Athletics, all that's going on in Rutgers, whether it's football, whether it's men's or women's basketball, men's or women's soccer, field hockey. It doesn't matter. Any and everything Rutgers Athletics, we'll sit back and we will be talking about what's going on in the world of Rutgers Athletics. So I appreciate everyone for being here, joining me today for this third episode. Those of you who know, I'm really excited about, everything that I do everything that we do for Rutgers Athletics. It's my passion been going on it for since 1983. What more can I say? So it's a great thing. Sitting back talking about Rutgers Athletics, and hope you guys really appreciate everything Rutgers Athletics yourself. So, but there's a lot to go on in today's episode. I hope you guys really appreciate it. And make sure that you guys hit the like button for today's episode. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and hit the notification so you know when I post new content. And everyone, always sharing on your social media platforms. It helps get me in the algorithm and really helps me grow the channel. So, but right now I'm going to take a quick Rutgers commercial and give you my intro to Doing It for the R for Rutgers Athletics. So sit back and enjoy.
Yo, I'm reppin' Rutgers, yeah, we do it for the R. Scarlet Knights flexing hard, yeah, we gonna raise the bar. All the pride in New Jersey, man, we stand tall and proud. From the Brunswick to the shore, we gon' turn it up real loud. Athletics in our veins, we hustle, we grind. The streets to East Coast, so it's on our mind. Red and black, we attack, yeah, we never fall back. In the heart of the game, Rutgers putting up the stats.
Jersey strong, yeah, we doing it right. For the R, put a thumb and we gon' fight all night. East Coast energy, hit 'em with the hype. Rutgers on the project, taking that flight.
From the glassroom to the field, we excel, we win. Got the spirit of the all, let the games begin. We represent the Garden State. Hustle, grit, no debate. Determination in our eyes. Nah, we don't hesitate. We got strength, we got heart. Every play, every ball. Loyalty in our soul from the end to the start. It's a Rutgers way, never sway. Steady on our grind with the pride of New Jersey. Success we gon' find.
Jersey strong, yeah, we doing it right. For the R, put a thumb and we gon' fight all night. East Coast energy, hit 'em with the hype. Rutgers on the project, taking that flight.
Yo, and this thing ain't still a raw. Scarlet Knights, here a sword. Champions the spirit, break it down every door. Red wave rising, see the power in our stride. With the hearts of a night, we got that Jersey pride. When the lights is bright on that Saturday night, Rutgers spirit burning, shining in the fight. In every passing tackle, we blaze with desire. In the halls of the Ivy, setting the field of fire. From the alumni to the youth, we carry the flame. United by the banner in every single game. This is more than just a team. It's a legacy strong for the R, for the glory. We gon' carry on.
And there you go. So thanks again for being here as we do it for the R. Sit back and talk about Rutgers Athletics. So, but the first topic we're going to talk about is recently Rutgers AD, Athletic Director Pat Hobbs, he resigns. So it caught everyone by surprise in reference to his resignation. Says that, after talking to his cardiology team, he felt it was in his best interest to step away from Rutgers as the athletic director and resign immediately. So he has gone ahead and done that. But again, like I said, it was really surprising, that he stepped away. There's even some concern. There's a picture over the internet of him taking a selfie with his wife, and they're in Ireland. Now, could it be right now? Yes. But could it also have been something that he took in the past and posted? Yes. I don't know. I don't know the full context. I just know it's, there are many Rutgers fans who, number one, are justifiably hurt, upset, mad. And I get where they're coming from emotionally. especially right before the season starts. This is supposed to be one of the biggest seasons for the program in terms of football and basketball. So it's kind of, they're feeling it's kind of strange. I'm taking a little step back and I'm waiting for everything to come through before I fully make a true, give a true opinion, on the matter, because again, if he is taking it away for health reasons, then you know what? You can never be mad. You can never be mad. Even if he just was tired of the grind, and he wanted to retire and resign, I'm not really upset about it. I'm not even upset about the selfie over in Ireland. If he resigned and then went over there and took a picture, he needs a break. That could be a relaxing type of situation. We don't know. He could have family over there. We don't know. It's just that as fans, we are consumed with our passion for our programs. And, when you see your athletic director, because he is the face, he is the leader, not the face, he is the leader of the athletic program. He sets the standard. He helps establish a lot that goes on there. He's also a key factor in terms of generating sponsorship, for the athletic program, the NIL electives, in reference to that. So he has a lot that, he contributes to the program. He's done a great job in helping build Rutgers up from where they were, especially when they first entered the Big Ten. Football eventually was a laughing stock, and he's brought in Coach Chiano, and he's helped to build up the football program in a sense. Building the getting the resources to help improve the stadium, as well as in terms of basketball, getting a phenomenal basketball practice facility for the men's, one for the women, so they each have their own separate. There was a time in terms of athletics outside of the football, baseball, track and field, everyone else shared the old Rutgers Athletics Center. But he's changed that. It's now Jersey Mike's. So he's gotten sponsorship from Jersey Mike's. He's established where each program has their own practice facility, basketball, wrestling, and that's big. That's big when you want to compete at the highest level, especially in the Big Ten. So, again, he's done a great job, helping raise the program, hiring Steve Peichel, when the basketball program was in the toilet bowl. So his resignation, it does hurt. Where do they go from there? There's a list of, candidates. Wide ranging. The message boards have talked about, getting a AD who's tied in more so to football, because Pat Halbs, coming over to Rutgers, came from Seton Hall. He was the AD there. Seton Hall, no football. It's basketball and the other sports, but you're in Rutgers, you're dealing with football, and AD does have to have some connection to the football program, because that's your meat and potatoes for the most part. That's where your money is generated. That helps a lot of the other programs. So in looking at candidates, some of the message boards, there are fans that strongly want Rutgers to hire a candidate who has a background dealing with football. And I understand that. And to a degree, I do understand it. I do agree with that. I'm more of the mindset of, is the candidate the best candidate? Then you have to do what you have to do. Now, does that candidate, though, understand the importance of football and what it brings to the table? You cannot just ignore it. You cannot just wave it push it to the side and focus on everything else. You need to be able to, with football, because look, let's be real, especially in the Big Ten, that's where a lot of your money is going to come from. So you need to be tied to that. Now if you can come in and you can handle it, and even if you don't have the experience, the full experience, but you have the experience of dealing with an athletic program, then that candidate is the best candidate. Doesn't matter if you're male, woman, doesn't matter any of that. Now I will say one thing. I am not ready to see a candidate who doesn't have the experience. That I no, I won't. Me personally, I can't. I don't think that's the best thing, especially not being in the Big Ten. You need someone who has some type of, even if they're an assistant athletic director, they have at a Power 5, 4, however you want to categorize it, program. At least they understand how to handle business with the big boys. And that's what's most important to me in terms of an athletic director. They've talked about one of the ADs, I believe, at UCLA. Okay, and, he has ties to the Big Ten. That's great. Some people have questioned, his effectiveness at UCLA. That should be put on the table also. Yes, but my point being is, you look at every type of candidate available. Now, I do know, and I've heard that Professor Holloway is President Holloway. He is the president of Rutgers University, but he has a search firm. He's reaching out to a search firm, and he's going to do a very thorough research for the right candidates. Now, Rutgers, they're in the Big Ten. So they're positioned very well. So, and most candidates, if you really want to, show your mettle, they're going to want to jump at this opportunity. Rutgers is also not in the bottom of the barrel any longer. So you could say they're ascending. They're in the middle of the pack in a sense. It's going to be a desirable position. Already the facilities are there. Yes, we were working on the NIL situation, improving that. That's important for an AD. They have to, understand that importance of the NIL initiative and be ready to jump in. But also for football, continuing to try and help get the funding to build an indoor practice facility for the football team. Right now, outside of the football stadium, they have the bubble. The bubble is antiquated. We all know that. There are things that can happen. Even the bubble can deflate and come down. So, that's something that, when you look at it for an athletic director, they need to be able to understand, look, we got to get this practice facility for the football team up and running, which will help, better position Rutgers going forward. So, and I think, ultimately you're going to find the right athletic director who's going to come in and be able to do that. I do think that athletic director has to be able to come in and reach out to the state of Rutgers or the state of New Jersey, Eastern PA, and New York. You have to be able to understand how to manage this area. A lot of people in sports who've come to this area, many have failed, to be brutally honest. They failed because they don't understand what it takes to be and succeed in this area. As the saying goes, in terms of being in New York, if you can succeed there, you can succeed anywhere, because it is tough around here. You're also dealing with a professional sports community. You are competing with that. Most will say with the Jets and the Giants, the Knicks and the Nets, but you also have in the South the Philly sports scenes with the Eagles, the Sixers, hockey with the Flyers. In the New York, New Jersey area, you have 3 professional hockey teams. So, and then, if you want to throw soccer in there, baseball, so again, to be able to come here, it's not going to be an easy venture. It is going to be challenging. There's a lot of obstacles, but the right person for the position needs to understand, being the athletic director of Rutgers University, you got to pull up your sleeves and you got to go to work. You got to be, in a sense, a blue collar, person to be able to manage this area. Now again, you're not like one of the coaches, which you probably have to manage it more than an athletic director, but you're going to have to be able to rub the elbows with people in this area, deal with some coaches or, athletic directors from the local high schools, and deal with, the political aspect here in New Jersey, dealing with the governor and so on and so forth. So there's a lot that the right candidate is going to have to be able to manage being here in the state of Rutgers. So, but again, I'm confident that President Holloway will find the right representative, the right person to fill the position of an athletic director. Also, one of the benefits right now is President Holloway is in full support of the athletic programs. Other university presidents have not been fully supportive of the athletic programs, and and it's, in a sense, you've seen it. Even if it's money is spent in the facilities and so on and so forth, the full support of the university president to the athletic programs. It's not just being a face that shows up and high at certain games and then disappear. He's invested because he's a former athlete, so he understands the journey athletes have to go through, in terms of their athletic career, and moving forward. So again, I'm really confident in President Holloway and that he will find the right representative. And that representative is going to come in and continue and expand on what Pat Hobbs has started here and help Rutgers continue to grow because the landscape of college athletics has changed. And we need to be able to have the type of person who has, the ability to handle the moment now, but have a forward-thinking ability to, jump ahead of the possible trends and help Rutgers grow to be possibly one of the best programs across the country in college athletics. So, again, like I said, I'm pleased to, I'm confident that, that will happen. And, I'm looking forward to seeing who's going to be the new president going forward. So with that being said, I'm going to move on to the next topic, and it's going to be in football. And recently, Rutgers has announced their team captains, and there were 6 members who were selected. Muhammad Toure, linebacker, Tareem Powell, also another linebacker. They're seniors. Running back Kyle Monangai, who's a senior. Cornerback Robert Lorgabine, who's a senior. Quarterback Ethan Kaliakmanis, I believe he's a redshirt senior. And safety Joe Lasardi, who's also another senior. These guys, except for Kaliakmanis is a transfer. So, but the other 5 have been here, their whole career. They are true Rutgers, and I'm not saying Kaliakmanis isn't, but they have been here through the grind, with Rutgers. So, and it's well deserved. Every last one of them, including Kaliakmanis, is well deserved of their position as captain for the Rutgers football team. And I am extremely confident that they will do a great job, for the football program. Coach Ciano said there was a long list and he cut it down to these 6. They were picked by the players. So again, this isn't, the coaching staff picking it and putting it on the players. This is the players. These are your peers, and, they voted for these players to be the captains of the football program. And again, these guys, through their playing careers, have done a phenomenal job, whether it's here at Rutgers or somewhere else. Kaliakmanis, again, as a quarterback, natural leader, of course, but he's has competed in the Big Ten, and he showed great leadership skills at Minnesota and before he came here. And then while he's been here, they have said that when he came in, just kept his mouth closed and came in and did what he was supposed to do. And the team has seen that, which, everyone is always going to watch the quarterback position, always. So, and, when you earn it as a quarterback, especially from your peers, it is definitely deserved. So, Muhammad Toure and Tareem Powell, what more can I say? These guys have been through everything, dealing with so many different factors in their careers, but they've always stayed true. They've always stayed strong to Rutgers. They believe in everything that is Rutgers University, on the field, in the community, and within this state. They're basically the Jersey boys anyway, so they understand the full effect of being members of the Rutgers football team and what they can bring to the table to help the program going forward. So Kyle Monangai, he was under recruited, and he's worked and he's busted his tail to get to be where he is now. Last year, the Big Ten's leading rusher. What more can you say? He was a leading rusher, which is a big accomplishment in itself. And, he's just worked hard every step of the way. If someone was in front of him, just kept his mouth shut, came in, worked, and earned everything. And he also is indicative of a person who shows great leadership skills, in terms of Rutgers University, but as a student athlete. Robert Longerbeam, kid came up from Virginia to play for Rutgers, and he's always performed. There has been arguments that said last year he actually was the best cornerback on the football team, even though Max Melton was drafted in the second round by the Arizona Cardinals. But, there are many who feel that, Robert was the better better cornerback, and, where most teams really didn't try to attack him. That sometimes I understand that sentiment, when they're not throwing at your receiver, that means you're shutting that receiver down. And, he's definitely a great representative. But in the locker room, I've heard the stories how, he's well liked and he's very supportive of every other athlete, has an open ear. So, again, he's a good kid, funny at times, so definitely deserves to be in his position. And Joe Lasardi is a safety who's just, quiet, comes out. When he comes out there, he produces, he doesn't always get, too boisterous in a sense, celebrates with his team, but, it's not demonstrative, but, he's very effective. And again, he's also a leader. You can see that. You can see the younger players when they turn to him, with questions, and he has the answers, and he guides them in the right direction. So again, those are the 6 guys who were voted as the captains for the football team. Again, linebackers Mohamed Toure and Tyreen Powell, running back Kyle Monangai, cornerback Robert Longerbeam, quarterback Ethan Kaliakmanis, and safety Joe Lasardi. So those are your captains for the football team. So again, it's something that I think is well deserved by the guys on the football team. So, but what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and let me just get ready and queued up. And what I want to do is I want to talk to you guys about the next subject is Big Ten Network and Big Ten Network's Anthony Pizzo. He believes that Rutgers can win 9 games this season, and that's something that, when I think about it, I said that they can win 8 games, and I still believe that. 9 games is just 1 game more, but there is that possibility. I'm not even going to sit here and say that it's not possible. So, but when you look at their schedule, opening up with Howard, then you have Akron. 99% of the college football population will say Rutgers should win those 2. Then you go down to Virginia Tech, which is going to be a tough one. At home to Washington on a Friday night. Then you travel to Nebraska. Then you're home to Wisconsin. You host UCLA. Then you're on the road a Friday night to USC. Then you're home to Minnesota. And then you're on the road to Maryland, home to Illinois, and then home to close out the season, Michigan State. So I see where, he feels that, Rutgers can win 9 games. going 9-3, first of all, would be a great accomplishment for this football program in the Big Ten. It definitely would. So and going 9-3, it's really not hard to imagine them not going 9-3, or 8-4. Now I've seen some who said 10 wins, and one person said 11 wins. Yes, as a Rutgers fan, I would love that. I would love that. But I'm also looking at the reality of what that means for the football program going forward. So it would be a big thing. It would definitely be a big thing. But with him stating that, it just says to me the level of respect this football program is starting to garner in the football scene, but across the country. Because many other analysts have felt the same way about Rutgers now. No longer are you sitting here saying, "Oh, Rutgers is only going to win 1, 2, or 3 games." No longer are fans saying that Rutgers does not belong in the Big Ten. Rutgers belongs in the Big Ten. Recruiting is starting to show that Rutgers belongs in the Big Ten, and it's a big thing. It's a great thing. It's a big thing. It shows the trajectory of this program, the athletic program, going back to initially, like I said, with Pat Hobbs, what he did in terms of helping, rebuild this program and get it headed in the right direction. But, when you can have the national media get behind this program and look at this program in a different light. It just basically it's first of all, it's kudos in the football program to Coach Shiano, all the coaches that are there, the support staff, and the athletes. Also, their recruiting base. Whether it's here in New Jersey, New York, Eastern Pennsylvania, they've expanded it. Down into Maryland, D.C., down into Virginia. Now they're getting kids in North Carolina, Georgia. They've always recruited Florida. If you're going out to the Midwest, they're attacking Ohio. They're hitting Michigan. They're getting kids from Minnesota, Wisconsin to come to Rutgers. Even if it's just on a recruiting visit. The point I'm making is the narrative has changed with Rutgers University football program. It's no longer a cakewalk. And the respect when you have a guy like Anthony Pizzo, who's been with the Big Ten Network, since its inception, he knows about the Big Ten. He knows, the talent that's across this league. Now that it's a national league going from, the East Coast to the West Coast, he sees what Rutgers can be, which is why, saying that they can win 9 games. Also, their schedule. I just went over the schedule. You don't face Ohio State. You don't face Michigan. Don't face Penn State. You don't face Iowa. You don't face these big time programs. I'm forgetting one. Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. Oregon. They're not facing Oregon this year. One of the newbies. That's why, the perception of Rutgers football has changed, in terms of the 9 games, or 8 games, or 10 games, the projection that they can win these games. It's a big thing, and it just also shows the, how the hard work is paying off. You just stay true to who you are and it's going to pay off. Coach Shiano has done it before. His first time here, pretty much the same thing. It started as, a laugh to stop program. And pretty much by his 4th year, Rutgers was then going to bowl games. And then by the 5th year, they were winning on a consistent basis, improving. And then, 2006, the magical year where they ended up ranked by the end of the year, 12th in the country. Think about that. They were ranked 12th in the country. Coach Shiano, he knows this area. He's the perfect man the perfect coach for this program. Yeah, he left to go to the NFL, but he felt that Rutgers wasn't going to have the opportunity to compete at a high level, and he wanted to compete at a high level. But he said it before. If he knew Rutgers was headed to the Big Ten the first time, he would have never left, and you wouldn't have had that missing opportunity. And you would have seen the trend continue on, where Rutgers may right now be in the same breaths with those top programs. Maybe. I'm not saying they definitely would, but maybe if you just pay attention to the trends. This time, Coach Yano's doing almost the same exact thing. Almost the same exact thing. Last year, fourth year, got to the bowl game, ended up 7-6, changed the perception of this program. Recruiting has improved. Kids are definitely wanting to be here and want to at least giving Rutgers an opportunity, and then coming through and saying, yes, I want to commit to Rutgers football and play for Rutgers football and the state of Rutgers. So, when you see these national medias who basically say, yes, I see it. Rutgers is not a cakewalk anymore. It's not a team that you really, top teams really want to play. Last year, for basically 3 quarters, they were going blow for blow with Ohio State. There was a point in time against Michigan. They were in the lead, but the reason why it fell off ultimately is why Ethan Kelly McManus is here. Rutgers needed to improve their quarterback play. Wisconsin, they were there with Wisconsin. The biggest play in that game was a 90-plus pick six for Wisconsin. If our quarterback played and just got the ball to your playmakers and was accurate and fairly competent as a passer, the record for Rutgers last year would have been totally different. And there may have been a surprise or two along the way where people would say, hey, Rutgers is definitely there. Last year, even though it was regular season, they were 6-6. There are a couple of games I strongly believe there were a couple of games where they should have walked away, and they probably could have had 8 wins last year, if not pushing 9. So, and that's why this year, you have a quarterback in place who, has played in the Big Ten. He's a better passer. While he is not a world beater, Rutgers doesn't need that, because Rutgers plays very good complementary football with a strong run game and tough defense. Well, if you have a quarterback who can at least get the ball to his playmakers, and you do have some playmakers there, it changes the whole dynamic of, this program. And again, you're going to see more and more media personalities like Anthony Pizzo, who's going to jump on the Rutgers bandwagon, and then you're going to see more and more going forward who are going to say they believe Rutgers can consistently win 10, 11, and maybe even go undefeated. There's even talk that Rutgers is a team that, with 10 wins, they might be in the conversation for making the playoffs. Now, I'm not saying Rutgers is a national championship contender. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if things go right for Rutgers on the football field, and you have, especially from the quarterback, you have just effective play, you do what you're supposed to do and don't hurt the football team, then Rutgers is going to be in great competition with a lot of other teams. And hey, then 10 wins, 11 wins may be a strong possibility. But, right now, I still believe it'll be 8 wins for Rutgers. But, I'm hoping, things, trend more towards that 06 season where, the play and the long-term outcome is a lot better, for Rutgers. So, hey, I'm loving it, especially, when, like I say, Anthony Pizzo, a lot of the media personalities on the Big Ten network, they came out to Rutgers and they took a look, and, they were like, yeah, this is a Big Ten program. This is a Big Ten program. And when you have guys who are Big Ten members and they bleed the Big Ten, when they make statements like that, that lets you know this program is headed in the right direction. This athletic department is headed in the right direction overall. And that just opens up more opportunities for this football program to continue to grow and be something that, on the national spectrum, is definitely respected consistently. So, but yeah, that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about in reference to that. The next thing I want to talk about, and it stems from an article that I saw on CBS Sports. And it says that, Rutgers is one of the underrated Big Ten programs. Where's the article? But basically, there's teams that they said that they felt was overrated, and those were underrated. And Rutgers was one of the ones who was underrated. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. That's definitely cool. When you think about it, you never see that type of thought, when it comes to Rutgers in the past. So when you look at Rutgers and you say, okay, Rutgers is an underrated program, especially in the Big Ten. That's a big thing, and I definitely like the article, when they said that. I had it right here. Captains. I changed the what you call it, but again, I like that thought. I like people saying that Rutgers is underrated. And that just speaks to, again, like I talked about before. It talks about respect. You know, as a Rutgers fan, I can honestly say I've sat and I've watched for years how everyone just basically says, "Oh, Rutgers is an easy win." You just look at the schedule, say, what are you going to be your automatic wins? And that's one of them. And, but now it's like, okay, well, Rutgers now is not an easy win. And when you say that they're underrated, basically you're saying you think they're going to be better than, what the projections say. So, like I'm saying, if they're 8-4 by the end of the season, you're telling me I'm underrating them, so maybe they could win 9 games. Maybe they should be, thought of having being a 10-win program. And in the Big Ten, that's going to be big. Let's think about this. It's now 18 teams from the East Coast to the West Coast. You have your big time programs like Ohio State and Michigan, Penn State. Now you're adding Oregon, which is going to be a top team in terms of, name recognition. Washington, they just competed against Michigan in the national championship last year. You bring in USC. USC is always known as a football factory. In these past few years, they continue to do that. You ended up with the Heisman Trophy winner as quarterback and the number 1 overall draft pick. So, and then UCLA. I mean, UCLA last year, they were a tough team. They really were a tough team. So you're bringing that quality into what's already here. And like I said, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, Iowa, Wisconsin, these gritty type of teams that, will line up and punch you in the face. Rutgers is right there, and they're going to be competing with these types of programs on a regular basis. And that speaks volumes, in my opinion, that speaks volumes to, where this program is, and in terms of being underrated, that's big, and that opens the eyes of kids across the country, especially if you have Rutgers coming in to recruit, and Rutgers has, something that, a lot of other areas don't have. And I've talked about it, time and time again. What's up, Zion? Thanks for tapping in, man. I really appreciate you. You guys type in the Zion Zedith. He definitely knows, and college athletics. He and I have talked about doing shows together. So he definitely knows. So definitely, if you want to tap into college sports, he's definitely one like me who knows it. What's up, Nick? Thanks for being here, bro. I really appreciate that. Do you think Derek Rutgers missed this year, seeing that he transferred to St. Joe's? Well, all right, I'll touch that now for you, Nick, even though I wasn't going to touch basketball. But no, they're not going to miss him. I don't think they're going to miss him because of the recruits that they've brought in, in terms of, of course, Dylan Harper, at the guard spot. What more can you say? You have Jeremiah Williams. I mean, we saw how big he was last year. You have Davis. He was phenomenal last year as a freshman. So I don't think they're going to miss him. While he was a good player, I'm not saying he wasn't. He also had his limitations, man. And there were times that, I wondered, why he didn't step his game up, because I was expecting a lot more from him in terms of his play. So, no, they're not going to miss him, as far as the guard perspective. You have Durkak, who you just brought in from Merrimack. While, it's a step up in competition, I think he's going to be perfectly fine. Also, don't forget, he's a Jersey boy from Colonia. Shout out to Colonia. I grew up, I lived in that area, Broadway, Colonia for a good while. But yeah, he's going to be able to fit in, and the level of play is going to help. They've also gotten bigger in terms of height. While Derek Simpson is about 6'2", 6'1", 6'2", other than Davis is about 6'2", but everyone else is like 6'4" and up. Harper is like 6'6". Williams is 6'4". So yeah, it goes goes a long way. I hope he does well. Maybe he's better suited for St. Joe's. And I hope he does wonders over there. Thanks, man. You're welcome, Zion, bro. Appreciate you, like I said, for tapping in. So, yeah, exactly. They added a ton of size, on the basketball program. So, right now with the basketball program, there's plenty of talent, but in the end, it comes down to these guys gelling and being able to play together. And, I'm confident, along with Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey, they're going to surprise a lot of other teams, and don't sleep on Lathan Somerville. I've seen, his film, he just has to get acclimated, but he's a Big Ten player. He has good game. He can handle the rock. He can score. He's just, he's young, and, he has to develop his size. So, but great question. I appreciate you, Nick. But getting back to, what I was talking about in terms of the football team, and it's being underrated by, they feel they're being underrated. And, when many people are projecting them to, win 7, 8, maybe 9 games, Pizzo is saying, I just talked previously, Anthony Pizzo. I said Anthony. His name is Rick Pizzo. I do apologize about that. I called him Anthony, and that was wrong of me. But hey, he's been in the Big Ten for years, and he thinks they're going to win 9 games. And this is what I mean by where, people across the country, they're underrating Rutgers. Now, they're underrating Rutgers for a reason, too, because they don't know, and they just want to see it. And I get that. But I always said the same thing. You have the blueprint. You have Coach Schiano. So if you trust in what he's doing, what he's bringing to the table, then you're going to say, yeah, he's there. Then you can say confidently 9, 10 games if that's what you really believe. I believe it's 8 games. I really do. I really believe that they're going to win 8 games. There are 2 that I'm saying, you know what? Things go right, then it could be 10 games, but there's certain things, and especially one bit of news that came about recently, yesterday, which caused me to take just a slight pause, which is next topic. Linebacker Monterey, who was just named captain, he went down for the season with an ACL, man, and it's a blow. He's a starting quarterback. He's been on all the watches, linebacker watch programs across the country. It's a big blow. Now, they do have a little bit of depth behind him, where, they can come in and, and fill in. But it's still a big blow, man. It definitely is, man. And hold on a second. You guys still have a sick running back. Yeah. Yeah, Kyle Manon guy. But see, here's the thing too, Zion, in terms of Kyle, you have depth behind him. You have Sam Brown, who's behind him, and Sam Brown is a bigger, stronger back. He's just not as elusive as Kyle, but he's a big, strong, and he's younger. He's a sophomore. So he brings a different dynamic to the run game. And then you have Benjamin. You have other guys who are right behind them who bring something to the table. Now you have two freshmen who are freshmen. But, if you get your running game going, you're going six deep at the running back position. That speaks volumes, man, which is what Coach Shiano wants to do, in terms of, his play. He wants to have a good run game, effective passing game, and then play very good defense on the back end. So, yeah, they can be a dark horse and play an upset to a lot of teams, So I agree with you there. So. Which it goes into why I say a lot of people, have underrated Rutgers. But, getting back to the Monterey injury, it was a big blow. No one was expecting that, that he would go down with an injury. So, this was going to be his last year. He could have went into the NFL, tried to go to the NFL last year. I think he would have been he more than likely would have been a late rounder, maybe a sixth or a seventh round draft pick. But this year was his opportunity to try and step it up even more and move up. But again, I feel for him. Coach Shiano says they're going to do everything they can to get him ready to move on. And I believe that he will. He will always take care of his players. There's never a doubt about that. And Monterey is going to come back and he's going to show that, what, it was just a bump, but he's going to be able to come back and compete. Now, it does open up the door. This is his second ACL. I don't know if it's the same knee, but, he was out 2 years ago with an ACL. So, that's where you might say, okay, and I understand, in terms of pro perspective, teams are going to just, they're going to really evaluate him and make sure. But I trust that, he's going to come back and he's going to show everyone he's going to be perfectly fine as an NFL player. So, but yeah, again, it's a big loss, especially to a key contributor as Mo Toure. He's versatile. He can play off the edge as well as off the ball. He's done that. He's shown that he can do it. Has some great pass rush moves. Like I said, he's strong as an ox. He can play down in coverage. So he's developed into a very well-rounded linebacker, and losing him definitely hurts. But there are guys who are behind him that are ready, that have been hungry to step in and show their wear. And I think, overall Rutgers is going to be fine in terms of the linebacker play, but, it's something that you have to be mindful of, as well as, for the first game against Howard, Coach Shiano has said that, there may be starters who may be missing the game. He doesn't want to say who or if it's yes or no, because one of his things is he doesn't want to give the opposition an advantage. Look, he's saying there may be, so they still have to prepare for everyone. So, but then again, not to disrespect Howard, it is Howard, an FCS program. Even if these guys are not there, Rutgers should win. And it should not be, for example, it should not be a 21-14 game. If it was, a 40-14 game, that's where I think it should be. 34-14 game, that's where I think it should be, in terms of Rutgers, but having possible starters missing, that's the one thing that, in the big picture for Rutgers, it does cause you pause for concern, but this team is very loaded with seniors, on the first and second level. So if you have that much talent, in a senior grouping, they're a veteran team. So, you trust that leadership is going to step up and fill in for those who goes down. And then the talent that's behind them, the younger talent, is there learning. And there are going to be those who are going to go from that group that are going to step in and they're going to play. But, you just don't want to have certain key members, lost for any extended period of time. If someone goes down in the course of a game and they're out, but they're going to be ready for the next game, that's one thing. But to lose anyone for the season, like another one like Monterey, that's something you can't have. But the first game against Howard, I mean, Teray is out. Tyreen Powell, he may be out. He's coming back from an Achilles injury that he had that happened back up in January. But the thought has been that he'll be back by the third game for Rutgers, which is against Virginia Tech. But again, who's going to be out during this game? The first game of the season, we don't know. I mean, the game is actually next week. It's on Thursday. Rutgers' first game against Howard is on a Thursday. So, and it's right around the corner. So, we can't have, a plethora of guys going down. If you're talking about, okay, you lose Monterey, you're not going to have Powell. Okay. If you lose another player, okay, that's something you're going to live with. Next guy step up. It's Howard. We should be well prepared and well situated to go out and compete against them. But, you also do not want a chance losing anyone. You want to get up as big as you can and get your younger guys into that game so they can start getting some game experience, because that's the best way that you grow as a player, is actually playing the game. But next week against Howard, it's going to be very I'm going to watch who is possibly out. But as long as you have, Kyle Monunga, I think he's ready to go. Khalid Manis as the new quarterback, we definitely need him in a live game to get some reps for Rutgers. I mean, he played at Minnesota. He's also played under Coach Soraka's offense prior to that, so he's familiar with that, but just not with the Scarlet Nation. So we just need him to go ahead and get acclimated, and I think he will. But as long as you have those guys, I think everything else. And Holland Pierce as your left tackle. Even though Taj White can fill in, he can fill in, against Howard admirably. But I think overall, as long as we don't lose any major starters like that, especially against Howard, we will be fine. Rutgers will definitely be fine. Even the first two games against Akron, we should be. I can put Akron in a sense just a smidgen above Howard. It's just that they're in an FBS and they're in the MAC, but as far as they're in a rebuilding, rebranding process. So Rutgers should be able to handle them. Coach Shiano has this program positioned very well. I spoke about it earlier as far as, it's a lot of the top teams across the Big Ten, whether you're Ohio State, whether you're Michigan, they're not looking at Rutgers as an easy cakewalk any longer. And it's not, no matter what, it's not an easy cakewalk. So, but again, getting back to the starter aspect, that's where, you don't want to see anything fall apart for Rutgers. You want them to keep going and developing the young guys behind them, but you want to see the key players, get in, get some work, and if you can be out by halftime, at halftime, coach says you're done for the game, then that's a good thing. And that's what I'm hoping for. No major injuries, we just keep going forward. But in the same token, Rutgers is talented. They have a lot of talent. Yes, they're a veteran team, a lot of seniors within the first two groups, but you've been recruiting and you've been bringing in a lot of kids. Shout out to Jay Butler in the strength and conditioning program. He's building these kids up. He's transforming their bodies into football, Big Ten football players. But you have young talent behind them. They're just young. They just have not played the game at a high level consistently. And that's really what it is. So, we don't want to have any more major injuries. Hopefully Monterey is the only one that's gone for the season. That's it. You're going to have knickknacks here. I don't want to say knickknacks here, but you're going to have some injuries. You lose a guy for a game or two. Okay. You move forward and you keep going, but you don't want anything to derail where this train is going. But if everything stays true to form, Rutgers should be perfectly fine. Like I said, 8-4 is where I have them right now. I knew about Monterey's injury, which I was thinking about 9-3 because of Rick Pizzo. I was strongly considering that, but I'm like, you know what? Let me just keep it right where I had it, 8-4. If they win 9 games, if they win 10 games, great. Great. That's a better bowl game. That's great, better national exposure. That's better positioning. That's better in terms of recruiting. It opens up the door. But, right now, the first game, I already know Monterey's out. I know Tyrene Powell is probably going to be out. Like I said, I'm probably going to expect another 1 or 2 players who are key starters to be down, as long as they're not the ones who I mentioned earlier in Khalid Manis, Monangai, and Pierce. Those 3 to me, Rutgers will be perfectly fine, going forward, especially after the first 2 games. But that's pretty much it. That's, what I wanted to talk about today. Again, if you guys have any questions, you guys can hit me up. You can hit me on Twitter, X, however you want to categorize it. You can look at Skies Papa 72. That's SKYS POPPA 72. Send me an instant message or post right on my page. You can hit me on TikTok at Edd Gladney, EDD Gladney. You can hit me on Instagram, Don't Sweat the Technique. Don't sweat DA the technique. Don't sweat the DA technique. That's how you can hit me on Instagram, and on Facebook. It's Edd, EDD, Mel, MELL, Gladney. That's how you can hit me on Facebook. And of course, you guys know where I'm at right here on YouTube. Coach Edd Gladney's Amazing World of Sports, man. So that's pretty much where you guys can hit me up. I'm so happy to be in the Big Ten. It's really Big Ten and SEC going forward. Yeah, you're right, Zion. They are the 2 top conferences. That's where the talent, the Big Ten, I'm glad you're talking about this before I get out of here. It's talent, it's competition. It's going to help a lot of teams going forward. But here's where it helps out a lot of teams, especially you guys over there in California. And you have talent galore out there. Don't get me wrong. But it opens up another market for you. You now can hit the Midwest, but you can also hit the East Coast and a lot more. You're already USC, so you're going to get the branding. But guess what it does? And then with the new rules, with going up to over 100 scholarship offers that you can now offer kids, you can now hit this market. You can hit down in Delaware. It opens up more to allow you to hit recruits. Same thing for Rutgers. We can go to California. You can go up to we can go up to Washington, into Oregon. Kids who may not be going to those schools there, but they want to play in the Big Ten. Pardon me. You now can say, well, you know what? And if Rutgers is growing, they kids will say, yeah, you know what? Let me give Rutgers a chance. And like I always said, I've been saying it. Rutgers has an advantage to a lot of other schools, because they're in the New York market, but they have 2 markets that they're in the middle of, New York and Philadelphia. So when you think about that, Shiano is big on, life after football and introducing you to, a network that can help you once your playing days are done. That's the other thing about the Big Ten. Academically, you're aligned with great research institutions. The facts on that, the Ducks are my fave to win it all this season. Well, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be the Ducks or it's going to be Ohio State, bro. And that's what it comes down to. When they play each other this year, everyone's in the Big Ten and across the country is going to be paying attention to that. But initially, my point in terms of recruiting, it opens up so much for you, So, and that's the thing about being in the Big Ten. The recruiting now is there, the competition. Everyone talks about the SEC, and rightfully so. They've been kings for the longest while, but I keep saying the same thing. The Big Ten is just going to grow. And, when you have, schools like SC now, Washington, even UCLA, you can't sleep on UCLA, even with the coaching change, Oregon. It's going to raise the level of competition. but it's also going to open the doors to a lot more opportunities to recruit and keep the talent within the Big Ten. Facts, Ohio State is 1 or Ducks are 2. I have Ducks winning in season Ohio State to win the Big Ten championship. Hey, that would be big your first time into the Big Ten. You win the Big Ten coming in the door. It also, I know some people in the SEC land will say, oh, well, that just speaks to the Big Ten. It's not as, but yes, it does. It just shows that, you're adding a strong team to the program, and Oregon is just stepping its games up. So Ohio State Ducks, Penn State for the playoffs out of the Big Ten. You get 3 out of 10. That's great. That's a big thing. I think the SEC will probably get 3 also. So if you got out of those schools, and then that leaves you with the conference champions of the Big 12, the ACC, and the group of 5, and then you might get one extra one out of those other schools, out of those other conferences. So yeah, that's a big thing, man. I mean, I'm sitting down and I'm researching. Next week, I'm going to be talking about a little bit more college football. I'll be previewing next week Rutgers with Howard. Not a big one, but I have to definitely talk about that. Alabama, Bulldogs, Georgia, Texas. Yeah, I can accept that. I was thinking Alabama or Ole Miss. That's why I was hesitant. Alabama or Ole Miss, is Ole Miss ready to step up to the plate? So, but, again, like I said, next week I'll be, previewing Rutgers and Howard a little bit more, and I'll be talking a little bit more about positioning where Rutgers is going to line up in the Big Ten. So, but, that's pretty much it. I appreciate Zion for, the great conversation, tapping in. Nick, you being here also, man. I appreciate you guys and everyone else who's been here, even if you're sitting in the background, just watching. I really appreciate you guys. I thank everyone also for always supporting me. Make sure you hit that like button if you're new, subscribe and hit the notification so you know when I post. And everyone, just always make sure you share on all social media platforms. Helps me get into the algorithm and grow this program and get Rutgers sports out there into the algorithm. So, but with that being said, I'm ready. I'm going to get out of here. And again, I thank everyone for your support. And until next week, you all be safe. Peace.
Yo, I'm reppin' Rutgers, yeah, we do it for the R. Scarlet nice flexing hard, yeah, we gonna raise the bar. All the pride in New Jersey, man, we stand tall and proud. From the Brunswick to the show, we gon' turn it up real loud. Athletics in our veins, we hustle, we grind. The streets of East Coast, so it's on our mind. Red and black, we attack, yeah, we never fall back. In the heart of the game, Rutgers putting up the stats.
Jersey strong, yeah, we doing it right. For the R, put a thumb and we gon' fight all night. East Coast energy, hit 'em with the hype. Rutgers on the project, taking that flight.
From the glassroom to the field, we excel, we win. Got the spirit of the all, let the games begin. We represent the Garden State. Hustle grit, no debate, determination in our eyes. Nah, we don't hesitate. We got strength, we got heart, every play, every ball. Loyalty in our soul from the end to the start. It's a Rutgers way, never sway. Steady on our grind with the pride of New Jersey success we gon' find.
Jersey strong, yeah, we doing it right. For the R, for the club, and we gon' fight all night. East Coast energy, hit 'em with the hype. Rutgers on the project, taking that flight.
Yo, and it's the Edd Gladney, Scarlet Knights, here a sword. Champion the spirit, break it down every door. Red wave rising, see the power in our stride. With the hearts of a night, we got that Jersey pride. When the lights is bright on that Saturday night, Rutgers spirit burning, shining in the fight. In every passing tackle, we blaze with desire. In the halls of the ivy, setting the field of fire. From the alumni to the youth, we carry the flame.